I'm only as good as my last post. If I have a really bad post, like meaning that it didn't perform well or didn't do well or whatever, I'm just like, oh God, maybe I lost it. Maybe I don't know what people are interested in anymore. And so it's like constantly you're trying to figure out the right kind of recipe for it to land. And I do think that's a big struggle that most people don't talk about.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. Like, I'll have days, where I don't have good viewable days or whatever. And I think I've lost it.
Yeah.
It's like, you're fighting against the algorithm most times. It's not even has anything to do with you. But we're always in a dopamine rush when you do well. You always want that, but you don't always get it. And it's the same thing in life, right? So like everything's not always unicorns and fairy dust. Like there's shitty times,
yes,
and there's good times. And so to tell yourself that is something we don't always talk about, but it's so true.
Dr. Betsy Grunch is a board-certified neurosurgeon who attended the Medical College of Georgia in Augusta. She completed her residency at Duke University, where she also earned the Synthes Spine Fellowship from 2010 to 2011. She's honored as a woman marking a mark in 2023 and has been listed top doctor for several years. Her main interests are minimally invasive spine techniques and advancing the field of neurotrauma. Additionally, Dr. Grunch is known online at Lady Spine Doc, where she enjoys demystifying the subject of neurosurgery, while also showing her audience how she balances work and life as a mother, wife, and friend. Her thriving social media platform seeks to empower the general public with critical medical knowledge to inspire current and future healthcare professionals and to add a bit of positivity and humor to your day. Dr. Betsy Grunch, thank you so much for being on the Save Yourself podcast.
Thanks for having me. Sorry, I'm going to just disclose at the very beginning that I'm battling a little bit of laryngitis, so I might not sound like myself.
Is it from your screaming? Is it because you're a screaming fan this weekend?
I wish I could say yes, I was still a screaming fan, but no, I think I have some my voice has decided like every other month is going to go out, so...
Okay, so I know that people might know you as Lady Spine Doc from social media. You have an amazing social media platform. You're also a mom and neurosurgeon and entrepreneur. One of the things I wanted to ask you off the bat, because I think everybody wants to know from you, what are like the top 3 or 5 things that you wish people didn't do because you see it causing trauma so often?
Oh, right off the bat with
right
a hard
off the
one.
bat.
Yeah. So, my field of expertise is spine. So I would say, I see a lot of injuries to people for unnecessarily lifting things, improperly, like making sure you're bending with your knees and keeping your spine straight and not lifting anything that's too heavy for you. I will also say, particularly in terms of women's health, I think that women, especially in the postpartum phase, ignore our core strength and pelvic floor, or maybe not necessarily ignore, but don't properly retrain that postpartum. And I really feel like that should be a part of our postpartum care, is really focusing on women working on re-strengthening their core, their glutes, and their pelvic floor, because that is so, so important for long-term spine health. So I'll say that is number 2. Number 3, optimize ergonomics. So what I mean by that is like keeping, like if you're working in a computer, keeping your computer screen straight in front of you so you're not looking down all the time. Whenever you're on your phone, we talk about text neck all the time, trying to keep your head and spine in neutral position. I'm going to give you 5 tips. So number 4 would be hydrate and keep a healthy weight. So and I need to take my own advice about the hydration, that most of our discs in our spine are 80% water. So keeping your body hydrated will keep your spine more fluid and more mobile. And I think it's, just a great tip. And then of course, weight is really important to prevent unnecessary strain to our back and to our spine. And the last thing is that if you use nicotine or vape or anything like that, try to quit, because I think that is something that a lot of people just don't realize is so bad for our spine. We always talk about it for cardiac health, pulmonary health, but in terms of spine health, nicotine is so, so bad for our spine.
So I don't think most people know the link between nicotine, vaping, smoking, and spine health? What is the link?
It has to do with nicotine as a vasoconstrictor. So, it can decrease the way our body heals itself, or our spine heals itself. So let's say you do a lot of lifting one day, pick up something, you injure your back. Your body's way of self-healing is to make blood flow go to an area and to regenerate and bring in nutrients, cytokines, et cetera, inflammatory stuff to that area to repair itself. So our spine innately, particularly our discs, are poorly vascularized. So they have bad blood flow. So you take something that doesn't have great blood flow, and then you take a vasoconstrictor, and you're significantly reducing your body's ability to auto heal. And people that use nicotine have premature degenerative disc disease, pain in their spine, and that kind of progresses slowly over time. And we don't focus a lot on that. And then if you need spine surgery for whatever reason, a lot of times in spine surgery, we do fusion surgery where we try to remove the disc and make two bones grow together. If you use nicotine products and you're having a spinal fusion, you're a 50% chance of not healing from that surgery. So those are just insane statistics.
Wow. I don't think most people know that. So thank you for sharing that. Does that go to vaping too? Because I know vaping has become so popular for people.
Yeah. Any nicotine products. So, cigarettes, dipping, vaping, gum, pouches, Zen, all of that stuff. I think Zen is becoming super popular too, and people just don't realize it. I often have these same conversations with my patient almost every single day that they never, understood that link or didn't understand that risk. And I think we just need to talk about it more.
Oh my gosh, I love this because I think, nicotine products have gotten a little bit of steam even in the wellness world. And of course, vaping is just everywhere. I have teens and we're always talking about, being careful about that. It's like the new drinking, I think, for the teens now.
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing that. So on the bending down, how do you feel about squats or like weighted squats, like barbell squats? And because I've heard, for me, I have a hard time with that in general. And I've heard things about not doing those. And so I've stopped doing them. But what is the real deal?
I think the real deal is they're great. But they have to be done correctly. So like doing squats and deadlifts and those things are great for strengthening your posterior chain when they're done correctly, not too weighted, in good form, because we have to strengthen our posterior chain, our back part, our paraspinal muscles to keep our spine strong. But, because of the way you can do it, it also can subject your body to injury. And so, that's why you just have to make sure that they're done correctly. I do think they get a lot of heat. I see a lot of injuries when people are squatting. Yes. But I often just think it's for people either with improper form or too much weight.
Yeah. Okay. That's very, very good because I think, it's really important for women, especially to be doing lower body exercises, strengthening exercises, but doing it in a way that's really safe is something that is a hard thing. I think doing it with the trainer, at least in the beginning, and then learning the proper form is the right way to go. Okay. So I have read about your inspiring story and I think I've heard you say it at a conference. And so love for you to share with everyone here a little bit about how you got into the field.
I think everybody in medicine has some type of something that made you get interested in medicine. For me, it was a injury to my mom. She was a police officer, injured in the line of duty and suffered a spinal cord injury. So she was quadriplegic after an auto accident. And that really interested me because I was very confused as to how someone could suffer a seemingly, small injury, but never walk again. And so I wanted to learn more. I didn't think that was possible. I wanted to fix it naively. So I started, just kind of, and then I was really inspired by her journey. And in that time of our life where I was at that time where I was thinking about what I'd want to do. So seeing the nurses, seeing the therapists, working with her and us and other families and making a difference in how much we relied on their expertise really was very transitional to me to want to explore healthcare as a profession and spine. And so I started shadowing her neurosurgeon when I was in high school. And I just really fell in love with taking care or learning about the injuries and taking care of patients with those types of injuries. So that's ultimately why I went into the field.
That's so inspiring. So you were in high school when this happened. Before that, did you know what you wanted to do, or you were kind of exploring, and when this happened, it kind of solidified it for you?
I think like most young girls, you just really wanted to do what your mom wanted to do. So I wanted to be a police officer. I thought my mom was super cool. And I always saw her come home with her bulletproof vest on and her gun belt and all this stuff and listen to her police radio. And I just thought that was so cool. And I wanted to do that. Then when she got hurt, I was like, oh, that's dangerous. I don't want to do that.
Oh, yeah. That could change. Is she happy and healthy now?
She's still quadriplegic. She had a complete a.k.a. spinal cord injury in 1994, and it's 2025, and she's still like 30 something years post injury and is still as healthy as she can be. Believe it or not, she's just an inspiring human, and yeah, she's just a very, very strong person.
Oh, I'm so inspired by her and her journey, and thank you for sharing that. That's such a sad, but also amazing story that you were able to kind of help her at that time and then help her now, probably, you know, with all the things that she needs to know. So now I think a lot of people may not know that you kind of have this like other side of you, the social media side of you. What kind of prompted you to even get into social media? Like, you're a great dancer, you're a good entertainer. Like, how did that even, was that like something you always were into and then it just came out?
Let's clear one thing up. I'm an okay dancer.
You're a great dancer. I mean, okay, like the bar is set low, but you're good.
No, so I don't know. During the pandemic, I just was kind of bored, and being all things COVID, we weren't able to operate. So I had a lot of time on my hands. And the one thing that you can do that's dangerous to a type A personality is have too much time on your hands because then you want to do something else. So I became just really like interested. I mean, I always use social media, but saw all the healthcare influencers in the space at that time kind of try to fight misinformation and thought, well, there's nobody in my field that's doing that. So let me do that. So I just started talking to really my first video that went viral was about being a female in the field, in a male dominated field. And it was just so interesting to see all the feedback that I got that I decided that I would, you know, kind of spend 3 months, do it every single day. That's what I read about online that would make you successful as daily content. So I started doing daily content, and here we are.
I love that. Has it become a much bigger part of your life now? I would assume so.
Oh my gosh, yes. It's like consumes most aspects of most of my life, really.
How are you balancing it with, I know I have had my own struggles, so that's why I'm curious. How are you balancing it with, I mean, not only your practice, but also personal life and all the things? Do you have like a set schedule where it's like one day you do this? Yeah.
Yeah, I have a schedule where I try to like keep myself on track for speaking on different things, like making sure every week I talk on a long form video on education, et cetera. So I try to keep it as semi-structured, but also real. Like, you know, that's not all of who I am. A lot of things I'm pulled in a multitude of different directions. So for me, like my platform just grew for me being myself. And so I know there's a lot of other influencers that kind of have a niche or whatever, only talk about X, Y, and Z, but I just couldn't stick to being consistent that way. So I just made it more about my life and seemed to resonate with people. So that's kind of what I do, whatever I'm feeling in the moment, whatever topic is of interest to me, whether it be motherhood, healthcare, some type of news topic. I just, you know, find a way to integrate that into my content. I say that I don't let it consume me, but the reality of any content creator is that it is always ever consuming. But it's given me so many unique opportunities that I never would have had. And I just try to keep it real and fun. So
I love it. I feel the same way. Sometimes it is tough, like when you're on vacation, for example, you know, because I do my own content. I think you do your own content. So it's really hard. It's not like someone's just running your social media and you can just take a vacation and, don't have to think about it. And the other thing I think is really tough for me, I don't know if this happens to you, is like sometimes I feel like I'm only as good as my last post. I don't know if you've ever struggled with that, but like, for example, if I have a really bad post, like meaning that it didn't perform well or didn't do well or whatever, I'm just like, oh God, like this is like not, maybe I lost it. Maybe I don't know what people like are interested in anymore. And so it's like constantly you're trying to figure out the right kind of recipe for it to land. And I do think that's like a big struggle that most people don't talk about.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. Like, I'll have days, where I don't have good viewable days or whatever. And I think I've lost it.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're fighting against the algorithm most times. It's not even has anything to do with you. So I try to do that, but we're always in this, like, I don't know. We're in this weird time where it's like a dopamine rush. When you do well, you always want that, but you don't always get it. And it's the same thing in life, right? So like everything's not always unicorns and fairy dust. Like there's shitty times,
yes,
and there's good times. And so that's the way. It's just to tell yourself that is something we don't always talk about, but it's so true.
But I love it because it also challenges me to think of better ways to say something or like better ways to do things. It's like just like you said, it's the dopamine can be good or bad. The dopamine rush of like scrolling is obviously for me, it's like a negative thing usually, but the dopamine thing for me to create and see something that's helpful or successful, like that motivates me to want to do more of that.
Agree. Yeah. I love being a voice for people that feel like they don't have a voice, or combating misinformation, or even like one thing that you do, like I could tell one patient face to face this piece of advice, but I can get on my phone and give that same piece of advice and give that to 50,000 people. And that is just so powerful.
So powerful.
And I think it's just such a great, great tool that we can use to help people. And I love it.
Have you recruited a lot of your staff to do the videos with you? I think I haven't seen recently, but I think you do some with your team and then some just by yourself. Is that still how you kind of operate?
Yeah. We do a fair amount together, I'll say, but I don't recruit them to do it. I just kind of allow it to come naturally. Like they enjoy it. Some of them more so than others. And so, yeah, like we'll come up with ideas together, fun things together. Or if we're like being a surgeon, you're not always with your team. So like I have PAs and MAs. So there are days we're all together in clinic. We're all working together. We'll usually do a few videos to kind of slowly post out. There's some days that are super crazy. We're running around like with no time. And so, we don't do it that. So it just kind of, it's variable. But yeah, we keep it fun.
You do. Question for you, and maybe you don't know the answer to this, though. Do you know where what's next for that part of your life, the lady spine doc kind of? Is there something that you're moving towards or working on, and maybe you don't know that. Maybe it's just for fun and you're just trying to take it day by day. But I think knowing you and I'm knowing us, there's always kind of planning for the future. So I was curious if you had anything to share.
Yeah. I just love what I do. As long as I'm having fun with it, I'm rolling with it and seeing where it grows. Do I have plans for a takeover? Like, not necessarily, but I just, I just really loved being able to inspire others and give some type of substance to the world that people find valuable. So yeah, I just kind of go day by day and, I more or less just want to have a good time and be that positive vibe. And whenever that stops is when I'm done, I guess. I don't know.
I love it. For people who are watching who might want to be, who are starting on social media or like maybe they're the old you, what are some of the things that you started to do? Like, are you like writing notes in the notes section of your phone? Are you saving things for a Sunday afternoon and batch recording? Like, what's some of that process look like?
So to be a good content creator, you have to be a good content consumer. So that's the part that I think a lot of people don't realize. So if I am scrolling, I'll find trending sounds, things that I think, ooh, that's a good idea. Like, let me do that like me. like turn that into my own type of vibe. And trending audio is really the best way to grow as a creator because the algorithm really likes that type of stuff. And so you want to find something that will resonate and make people watch it, but then want to click on your profile and learn more about you. So it's not just doing some kind of stupid dance because there's dime a dozen of those, but maybe I could do a dance and educate or whatever the case may be or doing a trending audio, but overlay it with verbiage related to my space. That's like kind of what I do. So I have a notes thing in my phone that I'll take notes in, I'll favorite videos, and then I have calendars and stuff. And I also don't be afraid to like take something that has been successful for you and do it again. So maybe not reposting the same video because the algorithm doesn't necessarily like that, but just refilm it. Do it again. Do the same script, exact word for word, verbatim, or switch it up a little bit because that type of stuff that's successful you can learn from and repurpose sometimes, particularly if you're having like a day where you can't think of something to do. And really something that's will help you grow is talking about stuff that people want to hear about. So that's relevant stuff in the media. If, for me, like brain injury space, spine space, if there's someone in the media that had an injury or there's a hot topic in my field, I'll grab it, and you have to do it pretty quick because people want to know yesterday. If I wait a week, it's done. It's old news, but you have to make sure you can speak on it properly and correctly. So I really try to stay in my lane in terms of neuroscience, stuff that I really know. I'm not going to go out there and speak on the latest treatment innovation in colon cancer because that's not my lane. So I think that's where a lot of people kind of mess up is they get so anxious about trying to make content that they want to you'll see like podiatrists talking about brain tumors and it just doesn't make sense. So yeah, that would be my suggestion.
Yeah, I think one of the things I learned over the years is that you can't want to be an expert in everything anyway. And like you said, it's very tempting to want to give your 2 cents on like the newest, eye treatment or whatever. But I've learned that over the years, like you can have an opinion here and there, but really trying to stay within your area of expertise is where it's going to land better with people. And if you don't have an area, for people who don't have an area of expertise, like their general medicine or their general whatever, pick a lane, like pick something that you feel like. For me, I never wanted to be like a women's health expert, but I'm a woman. And guess what? Like I started to talk about things that are important to me, and that is considered women's health now. And so sometimes you'll just find your kind of angle once you start to realize like, what are you good at? What are you interested in? Is a hole that people are not getting from their doctor or the rest of social media or whatever. And then last social media question. Are you more of a TikTok creator, an Instagram creator? Do you create on TikTok and then repost on Instagram? Like, how does that work for you?
I'm a TikToker. That's where I grew, and that's where I learned how to innately film my content. Most of my content is filmed intrinsically within the app, or just I'll film it on my phone, edit it, CapCut. But yeah, I just repurpose all my content, every app. So, I love TikTok and Instagram are my 2 favorite apps. If I'm scrolling, personally want to look at content myself, those are the apps that I go to. I also post on Facebook, YouTube, all those things. I don't go there natively to get content though.
I'm the same way as you. I think most people are like, I know how important YouTube is and YouTube shorts and stuff, but I don't really go on YouTube or YouTube shorts unless it's a part of my search engine, result. So I think it's a really different way. You're not really like just scrolling there. I didn't really do TikTok at all in the beginning. And it's so funny because I went backwards. I went from Instagram to TikTok, but I found that it's kind of easier to grow on TikTok and like find your niche on TikTok. Instagram is kind of like really saturated and very difficult. Although that was my native, so I still love it.
Yeah, I love both. I love Instagram and TikTok are my 2 favorite platforms.
How do you feel about speaking? I know you do a lot of speaking these days. Is that something that's like, you feel really good about, or that's just part of something, you're not as into live events, or is that something you love?
No, I love it. I'm a teacher at heart. So I love just that interactive feedback that you get from being live or in person with people. It's real. Social tends to distance us a lot and gives us this like shielding effect. Whereas, being live with people, I think helps you make better connections and networking and stuff like that. So I really enjoy speaking and teaching, and it's a part of what I've grown doing too. And on that same token, like doing podcasts and stuff like that, I think is also kind of on my vision board.
Yeah, I think you would be a great podcaster. You don't have one yet, do you?
Not yet.
All right. This is your, you know what I did, Betsy, just to make it easy? I'm sure this is going to work so much better. So in the beginning, I was like, oh, I'm just going to go to a studio locally and like, I'm not going to get this whole setup. Like that doesn't make sense. And then it was like that barrier of like, when you're making content, you can just do it anytime, anywhere. And then this whole podcasting, it became like a big weight on my shoulders because it would be like, I don't really feel like doing a podcast today, but it's like booked at a studio and like, I got to go. And sometimes I wouldn't be I would be rushing because something came up or whatever. And so what I decided finally is like, we make so much content anyways that it's kind of worth it to have a home studio. Although obviously Instagram and TikTok, you do not need any fancy cameras or anything at all. But for you, I think, and for me, it kind of opens up a different avenue of taping. So like at first I got the cameras and the setup and I did all this podcast setup for a podcast. But now I'm using it for other things. Like I'm filming some partnerships programs here. I'm filming like my own personal stuff. I'm using the camera for other things. So like I could totally see you being doing it that way and making it like really easy and maybe an extension of your life rather than like making it this hard thing. And podcast, is a long game and you pretty much, it's not like, you can get traction very easily. But I think do you have a book?
Not yet.
Okay. Is that in the future cards?
Possibly. I don't know. It's so much.
It's a lot.
I would love to do a book and I'd love to do a podcast. Those are the two things. I just need more time.
You need a couple more hours in your day. Okay. That was my next question. Can you take us through a Dr. Grunch day in the life? Pick a day and take us through it.
Oh boy. So it depends on if it's an OR day or an office clinic day or an off day, the remote chance of an off day. But for the most part, I take my kids to school every single day. I wake up, get ready, get them dressed. That is like my priority one is my kids, get them in the car at school. And then whatever the day brings. So office or surgery. And then I do my content kind of like, actually I have a little bit more downtime on surgery days because there's times in between cases. So sometimes I'll film content like on the fly there. And then, office days are always chaotic and busy and crazy. So I usually don't have time to do much there. But yeah, and then just going back and forth, I have a big team. So like I have my socials team. So, often like pre-film content, obviously for the day. And so communicating with them, my brand manager, and I have like you said earlier, a side business. We're selling merch, stuff like that. So we have that team. And then I have my clinical team. Then I have like my husband and my family that manage my child team. So we're like constantly like, where do I need to be? Where do I need to go? Who tells me where I need to go next? So it's chaos, but it's fun.
Is your husband in medicine or not? Or does he?
No, he stays at home.
Is he mostly doing the child care stuff when you're not around?
Yes. Yeah.
You're so lucky.
We're a team, but yeah, he does all of the home stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah.
What time do you usually get in and get out? So if it's a surgery day, what time do you have to get in and get out? And then clinic day?
We start at 7:30 and I try to be done by 4 or 5, no matter what I'm doing, and then come home and do the kids after school stuff, baseball, whatever the case is, all the stuff that's going on now. And then dinner with the family and then put the kids to bed. And then after they go to bed, content and workout. So
you do your workout like late in the evening?
Late.
And so how does that work? Like when do you go to bed then? Or you don't go to bed?
Great question.
Do you just not sleep?
Yeah, I usually get about 5 hours.
Wow.
That's not good, but that's what I do. So yeah, I usually work out about like 10 to 11:30. I just find myself be a better, more productive, physically exertional in the evening where I'm not so time crunched. I'm not a good morning person, despite being a surgeon. I hate getting up early. So I'd rather stay up late and like push through my workouts. And then after you work out, you're like, my brain is like, here, so let's go film some content.
Yes. And then you don't usually work on weekends, correct?
I take call every 5th weekend. So
okay.
yeah, so we have 5. Yeah. So it's most weekends are fine.
Let's talk about something that I think I've faced a lot of, and I'm sure you have. What about the naysayers or the haters? What kind of negativity have you gotten with your new lifestyle? Or, I'm sure you have multiple cases, but what is like something that you want to share?
Yeah. I mean, the higher you climb, the more of that you get. And it's a natural part of life, but it's a very hard part of life because you do things because you want people to like you and you want to be yourself, and everybody wants that positive feedback. But the reality is that's not the case. No matter where you go, there's going to be people that don't like you because you're you. But no matter where you go, there's going to be people that like you because you're you. And so and I teach my kids this, you have to really like try to focus on the positivity because there'll always be negativity. And unfortunately, sometimes the higher you get, the higher the negativity is. And it's hard because we all have this, like I said, this feeling that we want to be everybody's everything and we just can't be. So it's a hard part of this that I don't think a lot of people like to talk about. But I've had, people try to take me down left and right. And it's like, for what? What have I ever done to you that's made you feel this way? And it's because their own internal, biases or things that's happened to them that make them feel like they need to lash out at someone they don't even know. I mean, that's just humanity, unfortunately.
Have you faced any criticism from people in the medical community?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, really?
I feel like healthcare is the most toxic environment that's ever been created. Yeah. I mean, I find the most people that want to take you down or at least in my experience, is other people in the field. For what reason? Again, I think in healthcare as physicians, we are trained starting from pre-med that we're in this competitive atmosphere that we have to be better than the next person to be a success. And it just is this learned behavior pattern through pre-med, through med school, through residency that we feel like we have to climb over others. And some people don't. I've never been that way. I've always wanted to bring people up with me, but we judge ourselves against how successful the next person is. And that learned behavior pattern is the same in nursing and all other types of aspects of healthcare. And it becomes almost like a personality trait for some people. And it's an unfortunate thing.
Well, I think you're doing an amazing job. And I agree with you. I think it's very tempting for people. It's almost, in medicine, anyone who's kind of like outside the little box that I don't know who creates that little box, but is criticized for one reason or the other. But I think as long as, at least for me, the way I think about it, and I know you do probably too, it's like, as long as I'm helping people, it's coming off in a way that, people can learn from it or people can use that information for good. That's all that matters to me anyways. So thank you for sharing. I think that helps a lot because there's so many people who want to get started or are just starting. And the biggest fear is, what will other people say or what will other people do? And like, the fact of the matter is, yes, there will be people who won't like what you're doing. There will be people who criticize you, but it doesn't matter. That's like anything you do in life, that's going to happen.
Agree. And the easier and faster you learn how to deal with those things and not let it bother you. I mean, you just have to stay unbothered. As long as you're being yourself, you're enjoying what you're doing, realize that there are always going to be people that want to judge you. And it's just a natural part of growth. And it's just something we all have to learn how to deal with.
Well, thank you for being so candid. And I think a lot of people will find value in that little part of the talk, as well as, talking about how you do it all and the neurosurgery or the spine part as well. So tell us how to find more about you, how to find more about your merch, how to follow you, all the things.
So I am Lady Spine Doc on all platforms. I feel, my goal, like I said, is just to inspire and educate and have a good time. On the same token, I have started like a little medical boutique that gives people just a sense of, I love fashion and kind of wearing what I believe in. So ladyspinedoc.com is the boutique that I've started that really just speaks to me in terms of, certain fun things, but also raising awareness for certain conditions and raising money for certain conditions that I feel aligned to and passionate about, and have been able to grow and bring other creators on board with us and our brand to kind of do the same. And it's been a really fun experience. So
I love it. I think that's all of what you're doing is really inspiring. And I love that you're getting into, or you have gotten into, the fashion world. And that's one area besides dancing that I will not enter is the fashion world. But I'm so happy that you made the time to be on. I know you're incredibly busy. We really, really appreciate your insights and your candidness. And I think everyone should follow you at Lady Spine Doc. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. Y'all have a great day.